So I just want to take a minute to introduce the speakers on these calls because I don't know how familiar you are with everyone. And Jen and Megan, I'm going to introduce, and I'm going to tell you right now, I'm probably going to screw up your stats because I actually don't know them. I'm not really updated on them, but Maegan, Blinka, and I, and Jen Guthrie and I have been working together. We've known each other for a couple of years now. I've had the honor of going on a retreat with Jen in the past, and Maegan and I have very similar goals, very similar styles of mentoring our coaches, and we've always just sort of liked the way we've done it, and we've learned from one another quite a lot. So the three of us were kind of thinking about what is something that we can bring to our team and what are some of the common struggles or what are the successes that we're seeing. And one common thread that we have seen throughout is that people often ask us, I'm out of my warm market, what do I do? Or how do I attract those ideal coaches? How do I post with more purpose? Or, just that confidence of creating a coaching business. And I'm going to tell you that, the more we thought about it, the more we were like, sometimes it just so happens that the way I teach, my coaches are just so used to, but then it reaches another person, or the way Maegan teaches and coaches doesn't reach a certain person at a certain time, so she changes it up. And Jen said the same thing. So we were like, let's just kind of get together and do a 4-part series for our organizations of people who genuinely want to see their business grow. So these calls, I really want to congratulate you on investing this time into your business. These calls are created for people who truly want to know more about actually building a business, not just selling challenge packs, not just, occasionally helping a couple people here or there. This is for the people who really want to know, what's it going to take to be successful as a coach? How am I going to grow this? How am I going to make sure that I don't just grow this, but I do this with people who truly want to grow it as well? And so the three of us just kind of said, let's do a CEO series, because believe it or not, you guys are CEOs in your own businesses. When you signed up as a coach, you basically said, this is going to be the business I want to do my way. How much time I want to put into it is my choice. My definition of success is absolutely my choice. And so when you're on a call like this, you are saying, okay, I'm ready to learn. I'm ready to grow. And we are very proud of all of you guys for being a part of this. So in the 4-part series, we are going to each speak on a topic that we feel pretty comfortable with. And so even though it might be something that your coach has taught you before, I just want you to keep an open mind and say, maybe I already know how to do this, but how can I too teach my coaches or my organization to be able to do the same thing? So tonight, Maegan Blinka is going to be our speaker, and she's going to talk about that warm market, right? So how many of us have heard, or we felt at some time, and you guys can I'm going to actually open my chat bar too. How many of us have felt at some time in our business, I'm running out of people. Like, I just don't know who to ask. Or have you ever thought to yourself, like, maybe this is saturated and I really don't know how to expand, or how do you I see where Maegan is, or I see where Jen is, or I see where Katie is, and I understand what they're telling me, but I don't know how to get to that point. Has anyone ever felt like that before? Like, you just need to push yourself to the next level, and you're like, gosh, I don't know how to do it. So Maegan's going to talk to us tonight about that. I'm going to talk to you guys next week a little bit about my shift in mindset last year when I started changing what I was doing. The Hey Girl messages weren't working for me anymore. And so I started running free groups. So I am giving you guys my secret sauce. I am giving you all of my tools. I am taking you into my free groups next week to show you exactly how I run them, how they move, how I turn them from prospects to people who are actually purchasing. And then Jen, and if you guys don't know Jen, if you ever see her on her page, and I'm pretty sure she runs the majority and the bulk of her business off of her personal page at this time, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but Jen does this amazing, amazing job of really posting with such intent and purpose that you don't even realize she's doing it. From an outside perspective, when you're not a coach, you're like, oh, she's just a really happy, bubbly, person who's posting about coaching. But really what it is, it's very intentional in how she's recruiting certain coaches. So she's going to dive into that as well, because there's a big difference between recruiting for challenge groups and recruiting for coaches. And we're going to show you guys how you don't just have to do one, you can do both, because the business side is also a big part of what we do. And then we're going to close out our last Tuesday with a power hour. And we're going to show you guys how in 1 hour a day, you can really grow your business. And so we're going to put a little spin on it. We're not just going to like have you guys do your work. We're going to outline it for you guys so you can actually say, all right, I can do this tomorrow on my own, and the next day on my own, and then the next day on my own, because really that's what it comes down to. And I'm going to turn it over to Maegan in a second, but I just wanted to share with you guys this. Our team right now is doing a personal development book club, and I'm reading Business Boutique right now by Christy Wright, and I'm pretty sure that you can actually get the Audible too. And a lot of people, if you go to audible.com, your first Audible is actually free, so you can do that. But one of the chapters that she's in is she mentions how a lot of times fear is really what holds us back in our dreams, in our visions, in what we really want. And one thing that she mentions, I'm going to share actually 2 things, is she said that failure is good, right? So we have to start changing our perspective of, okay, I really want to be successful. And I'll be honest, the only way you're going to be successful at this is if you're going to fail, because you have to fail. And she says the truth is a time will come when you might not meet a goal, you might hit a roadblock, and you might disappoint someone. So what? Is that a failure, letdown, setbacks, and shortcomings are part of life. But every successful person on the planet is a failure. So you and I are in good company. And then she went on to talk about something that I never heard this term for, but I thought it was really cool. She went on to talk about this idea of imposter syndrome. And that's when you feel like, yeah, I think I'm an imposter. I'm not meant to be a Beachbody coach. I'm not as good as everybody else. I'm not enough. And you have to squash those thoughts. And in order to do that, that confidence that we're going to talk about, the confidence that Jen has in posting, the confidence that I run my free groups with, the confidence Maegan has in going out there and attracting more people into our warm market, that is how you are going to grow the business. But it starts with confidence, and it starts with personal development and investing that 10 minutes a day or more into yourself. So we want to make sure at the end of the day, the bottom line is the one thing that you need to get from this before we can talk about growing, is we have to grow this. We have to grow ourselves. I just blogged today actually about personal development. I gave some of my favorite books that I have read, and I know that Jen has read a lot of them and Maegan has read a lot of them. Maegan and I go back and forth with a lot of our books. But we have to get right here. We have to understand that failure is part of this, and every Beachbody coach's story is different, and it matters, and you matter, and you can make a big impact on somebody's life. So with that being said, our first speaker is Maegan. Maegan is a two-time elite coach. She is currently ranked, and this is where I'm going to screw it up, but I think number 69, right? Something like that in the coaching business right now. Her team is just on fire. They are growing, and it's no secret that she leads with passion and integrity and heart. So her team is following suit. So I am going to turn this over to Maegan. I'm going to mute my line, and you can take it away. Whoops. Where'd she go?
Sorry. You know what? That happened to me last night when you were doing the Dream Team call. I kept getting rebooted. So if it happens while I'm talking, give it a second, and it like closes out and it comes right back, and I can't figure out what's happening. So I missed that, but thanks, Katie. I'm sure whatever you said was close enough to being correct. I'm going to do my best to stay focused and not ramble and go off topic. But I want to talk to you guys about Instagram, and I'm going to tell you something. This is like when I first got started with coaching 3+ years ago, I was at my first summit as a brand new coach, and I was sitting next to a girl who had been coaching for a little bit longer than me, and she's scrolling, and I didn't even have Instagram. She's scrolling Instagram, and she's just tapping and liking and messaging, and I'm like, what in the world are you doing? Like 3 months in, everything I did was from Facebook. And she's like, you're going to run out of your warm market. And this is what's growing. This is where you need to put your time into. And I just kind of watched her, and I was just kind of like, okay, like this girl was a year into her business. She had hit Success Club for 12 months. To me, she knows what she's talking about. I'm like, okay, so I've got to figure out Instagram. So I created the Instagram account. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I just started posting in it. And like everything else, and like Katie was talking about, you got to sometimes just fail forward and just figure it out. So I started very basic by putting the same thing on my Instagram as I put on my Facebook. And I've learned just over the years that there are different things and different techniques you can apply to one that you don't necessarily do to another, and just different stuff that you can do with Instagram. And I do believe that is one of the things that has helped me hit. I actually just hit for the 41st consecutive month Success Club. And I know that has a huge, it's driven by Instagram. And it's not something I really started working in the way that I'm going to share with you guys tonight until just recently. So I am going to start off, and I'll share these slides with you guys. I'll give them to Katie and Jen, and they can put them in the team page. But I want to talk to you guys first about your bio. So with Instagram, the first thing that people are going to look at is going to be your bio. And people are quick. They're going to like you or they're not. And I think this is where Facebook's a little bit different. I feel like on Facebook, people want to be your friend. They want to know you and trust you, and which is why a cold invite or hey girl on Facebook often goes denied or ignored because they don't know you and they don't think that you're their friend. Or on Instagram, it's a little bit more open. Like people want more followers, and it is a place of strangers connecting on a common ground, less of a friendship thing where you find on Facebook. So people are they're looking for people to follow. They search for things on Instagram. So they're going to look and see, what does your profile say? And they're going to either follow you or they're not. And it's a pretty quick decision that they're going to make. So first and foremost, you need to make your profile look something that is going to be unique and be eye-catching. And I can tell you, I've changed this thing countless times. I actually changed this kind of funny tidbit. I changed it today because as I was going through these slides, one of the key points I wanted to share with you guys was that your profile needs to match what you're talking about on your page. Not necessarily everything you do maybe on Facebook, but whatever you have in this profile, that's what people are going to expect from your page. So if you say that you're into fitness and a health coach and graphic tees or whatever you're going to put on yours, maybe you're a dog mom, maybe you're a teacher, you're a nurse, then that's the things that people who follow you are expecting to see. So don't put something in your profile that you're not going to talk about. And don't talk about things on your Instagram that aren't in your profile, because those are the things that are going to go together. And it's super easy to unfollow somebody. People don't necessarily unfriend you on Facebook unless you like really make them mad. That your friend, you've got like that deeper relationship. Or on Instagram, people just don't really care. They're just going to click unfollow and then they don't have to see your stuff anymore. So I feel like that's a key thing to understand as you're going through it. And it's super easy. You just go up, you can kind of see on this thing, edit profile. I tried to think of an easy way to show you how.
Did she disappear again? Okay.
Yep, I'm back.
Okay.
This is going to get old. I don't understand what's wrong with my Zoom.
You actually might need to restart your router.
Is that what it is? Like my internet, you mean?
That would be my guess. But I mean, I wouldn't go trying it now. Don't go crazy.
We're going to do that after this call. So I'm sorry. Bear with me.
That's okay.
I don't know where I lost you guys.
You just talked about that your profile matches what you're talking about.
Okay. I totally lost my train of thought. But the spacing, that's what I was saying. So when the spacing to do your actual profile up here, it's tricky. And you can only have, I think it's 150 characters in your profile. So like I had to mess around with like the and sign to get it so that your spacing matches things upright. So just know that this is actually something that might take you a little bit of time, and it can be a little frustrating as you're trying to space it, but it needs to visually be appealing, because that's going to be that first thing that people are going to say, yes, I follow her, and no, I don't. I don't recommend putting I'm a Team Beachbody coach, because most
Maegan, you're muted, or we can't hear you.
Sorry. This is going to be a mess. All right. So the other thing I wanted to point out was this link tree link here. So with Instagram, you can put one link in your profile. At a time I had my blog, but my blog, like recent posts change. And sometimes I would put an event link. So if I'm recruiting for a free group or the coaching opportunity, I would put that event link in there. But then I kept having to change it.
Hey, Maegan, can you, I don't know if you can hear me right now. Can you try to use your phone? I'm going to have her try to do that.
What should I do?
So what I would do is I would use the image on your computer. So just have your computer screen up, but I would actually use your phone. Like I would,
and then just send you guys my slides, because you're not going to see them.
Send them to me right now. I'll put them up.
Okay. I'm really sorry. This wasn't this bad last night. But while we're going, that link tree, if you guys can hear it, it's a free website that you can create. And I ended up going through and adding links to like everything. So instead of just having one link that people can go to, now there's a link for my blog. There's a link for the coaching opportunity. There's a link for my challenge groups. Like I have all of that stuff in there. Go ahead and get on Zoom here. To be able to give like a one-stop shop. So I can just always say, check out the link in my bio, and then through the text they see, am I talking about the coaching opportunity? Am I talking about whatever it is? And I need to send you, all right, I'm dialing in. Let me send you, Katie and Jen, I'll send you these slides.
Okay.
I had closed out of all my browsers. I'm really sorry.
That's okay.
Sucks. Not going. And I never do slides for calls, and I legit made like an entire
You'll be fine.
Entire slide. Now my computer's froze and I can't send you guys. Oh, so this is where you have to improvise. And my whole computer just froze. I don't understand what's going on.
I'm pretty sure it's probably your connection. I would just restart the router like the next time you do a call. So in the meantime, while we're waiting for you, can you see your slides at all?
But you guys can't see them because it's very much driven by, you know what? Why don't I use my phone as a hotspot? I feel like that would be better. a freaking mess. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Megan.
All right. Can you hear me now? Am I muted? No. Is that better? Yes, no. You're good. All right. I'm using my phone as a hotspot. I feel like maybe that will work. It's my internet. This is awful. The link tree, and it's unlimited as far as like the amount of things you can put here. You can keep it pretty simple. Like if you don't have a blog, you don't have to put that there. Like I added in a thing for the international expansion. So this is what I've been putting in to refer everybody to just kind of navigate them through my other links. So that's what you see here at the bottom. And then I think the other thing that is really important with Instagram is you need to really be thinking about your brand. Again, people are following you for a reason. You gave them some vibe, some impression, some reason to click follow. So you need to make sure you're sticking with that. So again, do your post match your profile. And then something else that I started doing more consistently lately, and this I kind of learned a little bit in that Jessie Reagan like page training, but I feel like it's applicable here too, is that the filters and colors that you're using should be consistent. So like I know like that's one cool thing about Instagram. I think that's actually what Instagram was created for, was filters. But you can do some really cool things with your pictures. But if you're constantly doing one thing one day and one the next, it looks all mumbo jumbo. So if you can keep like, I use 2 different filters or black and white. And then even though some other times it looks super cool with a different filter, I stick to one of the 2 filters or black and white that I use so that it looks consistent across my page. And then the other thing is variety. So again, you've listed in your profile up here all the things that you're going to talk about. So one thing I'll do is I'll pull up my Instagram and I'll look, like you think about what someone's going to see when they pull up your name. They're going to see 12 boxes. So you want to make sure that in these 12 boxes, they represent the different things about you and there's variety. Sometimes I notice that I'll have gone too long without posting like a non-selfie picture or a something without me in it, or maybe I haven't posted anything with me and I need to add a selfie picture in. I'm constantly pulling up my own profile to look at it to see what have I posted about. And if somebody new came to my page, what would they see? Would they click follow? Would they want to be interested in it? And think about it again, like I know we talk about this with like Coach Basics and new coaches. Are you attracted to you? Like, are you posting the same, like posting things on your profile that are going to be something that you'd be interested in? Because you want to like attracts like. You want to attract people that like you. So make sure that you are doing a self-reflection. And if you notice a post is bad, you can just go back and delete it. Like if you thought you had this great post and it got like 3 likes and no comments, and it was like, 2 spots left in my new coach training or my challenge group, and nobody's liking it or comment on it, just delete it. And I'll do that sometimes to make the presentation look better. I'll just go back and delete pictures. So for me, I try to stick to the same, like a t-shirt picture. This was like me eating chicken at 9 o'clock at night. Videos on Instagram, just like on Facebook, do really well. So I try to make sure that I have videos going, constantly showing up on my page. And then I just pulled these to show you guys just some other examples of trying to make sure, like I'll throw quotes in so that it breaks things up so that it's not just me, and quotes will attract to other people. So those are just some screenshots of how I use what's in my profile, to be able to attract into, or, you know, show my brand, show me, and show what I'm all about. So you got to have that profile down so someone comes and sees you, they want to actually click like. You got to put the content out there so that when people, you know, if I have already followed you, you want to give them that value. But then it comes to like, how do you attract more people? And I think this is probably the place that most people struggle with. Like, you can put the posts out there and you can, you know, make your profile look pretty, but how do you actually engage? And by all means, it's no secret that hashtags are how people find you. Again, people search for things on Instagram. They're not just looking at people in your personal life. People are going on Instagram and they're searching different hashtags. So you want to think about things that represent you before you were Beachbody, before you were a fitness person, before you were all about clean eating. Think about certain things that you can hashtag that are more about you pre-Beachbody or non-fitness that people might be looking for. Some of the ones that I use, obviously I was a mom always, so I always mom whatever. Like, I look at different mom hashtags, and if you go into the search bar of Instagram, you can search in different hashtags, find different ones. But CPA was what I was before. I was a full-time coach, a full-time stay-at-home mom. So I will often look CPA, and for a long time I used to put that in my posts. I've kind of got off of it recently, but I actually have several accountants on my team. So I mean, I think it works. You know, where you're from, your college, different things are about you, and you can put up to 30 hashtags on each post. Make sure you're putting 30 hashtags on your post. I am guilty of not doing, I end up doing it like in bulk because I'll forget to add them after I'm like copying and pasting to Instagram onto Facebook. But this is how people are going to find your posts. And even if your hashtag that you're using has absolutely nothing to do with your post, you're going to put it in your comment. So you're not putting it in the original post. You're actually going to comment underneath, and you're going to put the hashtags in there. And you can, you know, look through different, I mean, I always look through like different coaches to get different ideas of what hashtags they're using who are killing it on Instagram, and I'll like look and see and try to get inspiration from them. And, you know, again, think of the things that are not super common. Like, you don't want to hashtag Beachbody. I am using the Shift Shop hashtags now just because I am doing that test group. But in general, like, you know, hashtagging 21 Day Fix is going to get you a bunch of coaches or a bunch of people who already have a coach. So try to think of other things that people are going to search for, and then save them in your phone, or save them somewhere where you can copy paste them. I use the notes section of my phone so that I can go back in and copy paste and put them in under my posts. And for the most part, I use like the same group of hashtags under all of my posts. And I switch them up every now and then. I try to see what's working, what's not. But I definitely recommend that you're putting them in somewhere so that you can quickly go back. Otherwise, like, you might forget. And then again, that's how people are going to find you. And then Upwork. I wanted to mention this here. This is using a third party. So I started using, it was Elance when I had first started coaching, but way back when I learned about Instagram, I started using this third-party service, which I think it's overseas. They work like when we're sleeping. But they are people who you can hire, like freelance, you can hire to help you find followers. Now, I don't recommend having them, like, they can do whatever, like you can hire people to do anything. I don't ever have anybody like comment for me, or all I have them do is I give them hashtags that I want them to search, and then they follow people. The idea is you follow someone, they check out your page to see who you are, and then hopefully they follow you back. That's kind of like the whole general thing of Instagram. If they don't follow you back, and it's not someone that I would be wanting to follow anyways, I'll go back and unfollow. So all this person does for me is follows and unfollows. It's something that I have done on and off since that first summit when I learned about Instagram. I hired someone right off the bat. I actually went through like 3 people before I found someone that I felt was getting me quality followers. It's not a lot of money. I think he's like $3 an hour, and I have him do 5 hours a week for me, and has been not nonstop for the majority of the last 3 years. So what's that, like 75, 80 bucks a month that I spend on having someone find me followers. You can do that yourself. Like, that is not something that you have to have someone else do. It's just that searching of finding people, following them, and hoping that they follow you back, going back, and then unfollow. So that's something, again, if you're willing to invest, like you kind of invest in time or you're investing money, depends what one you can give a little bit more of. If you can, it's a really great site. and it's an easy, mindless task that someone else can do. You spend your time building the relationships with the people. So that's what I've always done. I've taken my time to see who are the people who are now showing in my news feed. Those are the people that person's essentially followed for me for the most part. So then I go through those people and I'll unfollow. Like I tell them, no other Beachbody coaches. Like if I want to follow a Beachbody coach, I'll do that on my own. And No It Works wraps people. And I give him certain instructions. And by all means, he unfollows like my sister-in-law, or he'll unfollow, or he'll start following like wraps people. So I often have to give a little guidance and a little, tweaking to it. But for me, it's been an investment well worth it. A lot of my people, like I was through that cold market pretty quickly, but this has through my warm market pretty quickly, but this has kept that filter going because he's constantly building my following. And if you see at the beginning, I think I'm up to like 26,000 followers now on Instagram. That's been building consistently. I mean, I had 0 when I started 3 years ago. So, and a lot of that, like I have never actually sat down myself and done it. I've given him and worked with him to do it. So think about it. If it's something, and you don't have to do, I don't believe there's any minimum. I'm sure some of them have a minimum. You could do it, 2 hours a week that you have someone building followers and you kind of filter through that. But it's super easy. It's all set up through that Elance or Upwork website. But I really recommend that. A couple apps. If you go into like the app store, let's see what questions at all. Question. I find a lot of strange guys. Yeah, and I tell him women only, like do not follow men. I unfollow like any, like I don't filter who's following me necessarily, but I do not follow any males for the most part. And I tell him do not follow any males. And if I get someone sending me weird messages, I absolutely block them. Like other than, I don't know if you could, want to block like all men, but I do not. I like if it's someone sends me a message and it's like, hey girl, or hey pretty, or something crazy, I will hit that little block button. I get a lot of other companies and coaches. I mean, and sometimes it's okay because sometimes they'll like your stuff. It's like I have a lot of Beachbody coaches that are friends on my friend list that don't necessarily, they're not on my team or on anyone else's team that I know, but it's not necessarily hurt anything, but I don't follow them back. Like, I don't care if a Beachbody coach follows me on Instagram, but I'm on, like, my Instagram and Facebook became my business when I became a coach and less of a personal thing. There's personal people that I follow, but I use it more from a business standpoint. So yeah, if they follow you, that's fine. I just, you have the control over who you follow back. Apps, I don't know about Android. I just looked, so on my Mac, I have it all like linked together. So I had just done a search. I mean, you could do a similar search for like the Android. I don't know how that works, to be honest, but I searched in the App Store on my computer, and these are apps that I use on my computer, not my phone. So my phone, I just have Instagram, but on my computer, I have these two. And I want to say, I think Grids might have been like $10, which is probably the most I've ever paid for an app in my life. It might have been like $7 or $8, $10 in that range. But it's been super helpful. And then this direct messaging. So once I started doing more business on Instagram, it became a pain to type things back on my phone. I'm not fast on my phone. I would rather type it on a computer. So I downloaded, and maybe direct message was free. I'm not sure. But I downloaded them on my computer. So now I do all of my Instagram messaging from my computer and not from my phone. So I try to keep my work hours set to at my computer versus sitting on my phone. I'm more efficient, and it just helps my family realize mommy's working on the computer and not on my phone. So that's something that's been helpful. Let's see what was in the chat. Thanks, Jen. So I will show you, or maybe at the end, I'll show you if I'm not running too much over time, what these look like, because I have them up on my computer, super helpful. So one of the things that I do through those, classic Hey Girl, so similar to the same Facebook messages that we all send. I can zoom this in, I think, a little bit. I do similar, and I use like this same approach that I'm sharing here, so I use on my live page too. So when I get a new follower, I say, and it's someone, like I check it out, who's following me, is it someone I want to connect with? And I send them this simple message. When someone follows you on Instagram, they have just opened the door for an invitation. You do not have to worry about bothering them. They followed you. So now you have a reason to send them an invite. It's not like a random, it's the same thing on my like page. You like my like page, I'm going to send you a message because you just gave me that. You opened that door for me. So that's what I do. When someone follows me that I want to connect with, or I think that might be potential as a team or potential for a challenger, I send them this simple message. And sometimes, they're, like, here, I'm trying to work out, I'm crazy. And so, like, we just started a conversation. And then this one was more like, I go through people who like specific posts. I don't do this on every post, but if I have a call to action post and all I got out of that post was, likes on it, you better believe I go through all those likes and think, who are these people that might be interested? And so often they like that coaching post because it was the picture that stopped them. It had nothing to do with the text on it, because they're on Instagram and they're flipping through a mile a minute. But I cannot tell you how many times I've sent this and they're like, well, I was just sending it to be supportive, but now that you say it, like, what do you do? And I just had a girl today who was the beginning of April that I sent this message to. And she responded back. She's like, oh, I'm at the gym right now. She's like, funny, you messaged me. She's like, I was just liking it to support you. And we went back and forth and I kept saying, are you interested? She's like, no. Well, she just joined my Shanti group. So this, again, by sending these messages, it gives you that warm market. It helps you keep growing. And when you have things like a free group to invite to, you have these people who you may not really know because they're just Instagram followers, just like the random friend on Facebook. But now you have something else to invite them to. So when it's free, they really like it. So that's been kind of like my project lately, is going through these people who I've been hey girling on Instagram and inviting them into that Shanti group, because like now we're friends because we're chatting through Instagram. I want to show you just because I feel like it'll help so much. I'm trying to think how I'll open up so the direct message is like super simple. I remember when I first opened it, I'm like, really, this is all that it is. Can you guys see like this little box on the right? Yes, no, I can't move it. I don't know. Someone give me a thumbs up. Stacy, I see you. Thumbs up. Can you see this box here? Okay. So this is, and I don't know if here, I put that there. So this is the little direct messenger thing. Why is this not here? Direct message for Instagram. So I must not have upgraded because it says I can upgrade to pro. So I'm thinking this is just a free one. So like this was this girl here. This was the girl that had told me actually she was at the gym. So we were talking today. So you cannot start a message. And well, if you know their name, I guess I've never started one. Huh, funny. I didn't know you could do that. Interesting. So what I usually do is I start the message on my phone so that it goes up to the top, and then I come in here and I hit refresh, and then I have the conversation here. This allows you to send them links, to send them like so much more of a message versus just sending them like, I feel like it's harder to copy paste and go within the different apps there. So this is as simple as that direct message one is, but the money one is the other one. And I don't know if I can open it from here. You can tell me. Do you guys see my Instagram when I just opened it? I feel like screen share. I have to stop screen share and then I have to start it again. Okay. So this is like that bar at the top. I'm trying to move around like where I see you guys. Okay. So this is like just pulls up essentially your Instagram. So at the top here, like you can see, like, here's my page. Slow. So here's my page. Obviously, this looks a little different, but let's be real, no one's getting on Instagram on their computer other than people working in business. So your profile looks a little bit different. This link here still works. But what is so cool about this is like if I go to like just like my home page or like my followers, like what would be my feed, you can like and comment so quickly. So all you have to do, it's loading, is hover a picture and you can like click hearts like crazy. It's like I don't even know who these people are. But you can like, do your likes and comments super easy here. So if you know who you want to go to, you can just go in the search bar, type their name in, and then you can see their feed. And then like we'll just click this person. If you click on this person and you want to send them a message right over here, you can click send message, and that brings up that direct message box that I showed you guys. So because I have both of those apps, they link together. So you can direct message while you're working on here. And then the other super cool thing is you can make posts from here. So you can, oh, it says my screen share is paused. So you can add a post, you can add to your story, and you can edit your profile all from here. So this is just like, I like Instagram because it, again, is such a huge help in building your warm market, but I feel like I wasn't efficient on it because everything had to be from my phone. And I was trying to type on my phone and go between like copy, send different messages, and it was really hard. And this, once I learned about these apps, and honestly, it was on some call that I was on where someone talked about these apps, and I was like, you know, I'm going to give them a whirl. And I never pay for apps. I can stop the screen share. I never pay for apps, but with this one, I was like, you know what, I'm going to give it a whirl. And the two of them have both been so helpful. Brittany, you said, can you show those apps again? Did you see them? I don't know where you are. Are you good? Can you make a list of people's posts you want to see? What I do is I write their Instagram handle down. So like the people who I want to search, because their names aren't usually like the names that you know, I will actually go and write down, like I have a list of like my Instagram people, and I actually started putting them into Streak too. I just copy paste their Instagram name and put it into Streak. That way I know who they are and I can follow up easier. But I just put in whatever their name is. And then you can just, again, you go into the search bar, and it just makes it so much easier to have conversations and not be like, I feel like I was always trying to be real short because it was harder to type. So this just made it a lot more efficient. And then I had just one more slide and then I will be finished. So just a call to action for you guys. You have to decide at this point if you want to do Instagram, because you're going to hear Instagram from me tonight, and then Katie's going to talk more about her free groups and like page. And there's so much, you know, you can do your Snapchat or whatever it is. So if Instagram isn't your thing, it doesn't have to be your thing. I have found that Instagram has been well worth the time. It's simple to me. To me, Instagram is very easy, I think, because it runs from the same people who own Facebook. It makes it to where like they're so parallel, like with the Instagram stories, not that we went into that here, but when I'm doing Instagram stories, I put the same thing on Instagram stories as I do on my Facebook, and I don't have to worry about opening another app with Snapchat. I use Instagram and I use Facebook, and it has really streamlined for me. You do have to be willing to invest the time and or the money to grow your account. Like, people aren't going to just come find you because you post really cute pictures. You have to engage. And same way Facebook, like with their, you know, the more you engage with them, people will see your stuff. Same things on Instagram. You have to be able to go and like and comment on people's things for them to see yours, which is where that Grids app really comes in handy, because you are able to go and comment on everyone else's stuff. And then just decide, you know, where you want to start with it, and then get going. Like, make your bio. When you get off the call tonight, sit down, start editing your bio. It's going to take some time. Think about what the things you want to talk about are. If they change, you can change them, but try to like pick those things now, find the filters that you love, and stick to those. And, you know, just keep failing forward. I still have posts with 26,000 followers that will get like 10 likes. So not everything flies. Time of day matters. I actually heard on a call not long ago, and I haven't necessarily tested this out, but I had heard that before 9 and then after 9, before 9 a.m. and after 9 p.m. are the two best times to post on Instagram. I haven't necessarily tested my own posts and stuff to decide if that is true for me. But that was something I had heard not long ago. But there's so many calls out there too. Like there's posts out there. You know, like I said, when I was trying to figure out how to make my bio not look all mumbo jumbled and together, I just Googled like how to make an Instagram bio. And it, you know, I got the steps there. Before 9, that's funny, Katie. That's probably really true. What are Instagram business tools? So you can you can upgrade to a business account. And it doesn't cost anything, but it allows you to add, and I didn't have it in the picture of my profile, but it allows you to have like a contact. So people can hit an email. Just put your email in it. I upgraded mine to a business as soon as I had like the option to do that. So I would recommend, you know, if you're using this for your business, I would recommend making it a business account, because then it will give you that option. I actually think it says call or email, and I took out my phone number because I don't want people to call me. What do you mean by filters? So like when you go into Instagram, you know, when you first add a photo to Instagram, you can filter it with 10 different things. Like the very first filter is one that I would often use. I don't know what it's called. I don't, it's not going to open because I'm using my phone as a hotspot. But when you open Instagram, you've got all the different filters. Claridon, you're right, Michelle, that is what it's called, where you can, you know, change the lighting and the color and the black and white. They all have very different looks to them, and some of them work better with other pictures. I use that Claridon or the Valencia, it's like more towards the end, or the last black and white. Those are the three that I tend to use when I'm doing it. And I just think it makes your page look more streamlined, that you have like a comment, like it all looks like it goes together, not like you've got really bright pictures, really dull pictures, colorful pictures, black and white. Like it makes it just more clean and neat. Brittany, the two apps, the one is called Direct Message for Instagram, and then the other is just called Grids for Instagram. Grids I definitely paid for. I think the direct message that I used was a free version, but I'm not positive. Any other, and in these slides, I'll send these to both Katie and Jen. I have the two pictures of the two apps that I downloaded. They're in there. And I do apologize for the technical errors at the beginning. I'll have to figure out something with my internet.
So I will say that one thing that I would suggest is if you are working with an upline coach, or if you are working with a success partner, I would actually have each other like check out each other's bios, because while she was sitting there kind of talking about that, I went over my own IG, which I don't use as much as I probably should. And I just kind of said, all right, so what am I? Like when people think of me, like what are the things that come to mind? And I thought about how can I put that in my profile? So it might be a good idea for you to even ask somebody who's outside of the Beachbody Network, who just knows you, like knows your heart, knows who you are, like knows a lot about you, to actually say, you know, if you just say to them, like, what comes to mind when you think of me? And sometimes it always kind of throws you off when they suggest something or when they say something. But I would maybe do that, just kind of get feedback. And you sort of have to take the personal out of it and just ask for honest feedback from people. Like, do you think I'm on the right track? Would you follow me? Is this me? Does this sound like me? And if somebody is open to kind of telling you the truth, then you might not like what you hear, but then it might help you too. So I want to add that. And the only other thing I kind of want to add to that is Jen's going to talk about personal pages. Megan talks about Instagram. I'm going to talk about like pages. And yeah, these are like sort of the areas that we're comfortable in, but I want you to also know that we are open and learning the other ones too. So it's not like we're so stuck in what we're doing that we're not realizing there's other areas that we can improve upon. That's why we're all here. We just have to also realize that there are certain things, just like what Megan was saying, where, you know, people want to be your friend on your friend page. They want to have a connection with you, a relationship with you. They want to love you. Like it's very different than IG, where it's more okay to send a hey girl message than it necessarily is on your personal. And then your business page is people are going there because they either vibe with you or they don't. So in a way, it's more like more words, I think, than with Instagram, but it's definitely like a people come and go. Whereas friends, it's a little bit more personal. So I kind of think of that too. And then the other thing I'll just mention with Instagram that I'm learning is that things that I post on a personal, on my business page and Instagram, they don't always work on the same platform. I might do great on Instagram, do nothing on my personal page, and do okay on my business page. So you have to kind of treat each platform for what it's worth. So on Instagram, images matter. The images matter a lot, whereas with a business page, your words might matter more. So you have to look at that. Like you just kind of have to think about that as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I'll say with that, Katie, there's times that my picture might be the same, but my wording will be different. Like sometimes my Instagram post is like a quote,
Yeah.
Where my Facebook post will be like, I was up at 5:30 and 2:30 and this happened with my kids. Cause people know my kids on Facebook, and the 26,000 people on Instagram don't give a shit about my kids. That's just how it works. So like I'll often use the same picture, but I will change the wording of them. And sometimes I change the time. Like, to be honest, I posted a video at 11:30 on my Instagram last night, just because I was going to bed and realizing that I made the video and never got it posted. But it's like by the morning, it had like 500 views. So that would have never happened on Facebook. My Facebook friends are all sleeping at midnight. So timing is different on things. Like, I'll put an Instagram post up later than I will on Facebook. Facebook, I try to have it up no later than 9, but I can put like a call to action post on Instagram at 10. Like, my posts do different at different times. And like Katie was saying, by all means, something that goes great on Instagram will bomb on Facebook, or vice versa. Like, which is why I do post on all of them and always have, because there's different people seeing them at different times.
Brittany had a question for you too.
Direct video messages to people. I have never done that. I never really even noticed that you could do that on Instagram. I actually just recently started even using the stories. I never really used to. I never was a Snapchat person. With the beach, I always feel like when I go somewhere and I'm doing something, I have more of an opportunity to make a story. I think the only time I really used Snapchat was Summit last year, and then I never did it again. So I'm starting to, but I will tell you, it's interesting to see who's looking at your stories that doesn't like posts. Like, I have a girlfriend who's kind of like one of those, like, I can't believe you're a coach, but like a good friend of mine, but I totally know she doesn't approve what I do. And I just noticed she's been looking at my stories for like 5 days and has not liked a single post of mine on Facebook or Instagram. But she's looking at all my stories. It's just interesting. And I noticed that because I know her name. But people look at the stories. So this is, again, where you've got to kind of put yourself in different places, and different stuff is going to go well different places. And my stories are more random and they're just my life, where Instagram is more purposeful with intent.
Right. That's a really good point too. Yeah, but it's definitely a failing forward thing kind of thing. So you guys have to keep that in mind too. You've got to play around with it. And I'm not saying like do it for a week or 2 weeks. You have to consistently kind of play around with it. So this was great. I took a page of notes, and tonight before I go to bed, I'm actually going to sit in bed and I'm going to think about my profile. So I have some words here. I'm going to play around with it a little bit, and I'm going to change it up a little bit, but I suggest you guys that is where you start. We're going to meet next week, same place here. But I want you guys to also go ahead with those call to actions that Maegan left for us. And I want you to really go ahead and think about, okay, is this your thing? What am I willing to invest in terms of time? How much time can I put into this? Where are you going to start? Nail down your bio, your theme, look at the filters, look at what filters you can select, and then start looking at your brand, what you stand for, what matters to you, why people would follow you. So Maegan, that was so great, guys. We'll see you next week, 9 o'clock, same place, all right? Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye, guys.